Action. Hey, we're looking at Acts chapter 13. In Acts chapter 13, we see Paul and Barnabas finally being sort of blessed by the church and sent out to their sort of on their missionary trips. Something interesting to notice there in verse 3 is that they actually placed hands on them and sent them off. So this placing of hands on by apostles on other people who were getting sent out was a very big deal in the early church, and actually extended on throughout history, where, like, I don't know, 1,000 years later or something, I can't remember the exact time, people could actually trace back who had laid hands on them all the way back to the early disciples, which is kind of a neat thing to think about. But we still do that sometimes today. When we have prayers in church, we'll place our hands on people. Something that's interesting to notice that as Paul and Barnabas went to new cities, as we see them go into this first city, Pisidian Antioch, which I can't say, but they actually went to the synagogue first. So they actually went to the Jewish people first.
You've got prayer.
I just got an email. They actually went to the Jewish people first, and then they would talk to the Jewish people about what the faith was. They'd actually go back through some Jewish history and talk about what was going on in the faith, and then they would let that happen. And a lot of times, what you see is the Jewish people would actually accept them initially, as we see in this chapter, and then reject them once the leaders sort of got angry about it. And then they were very big on emphasizing that this was time to go to the Gentiles at that point. And so that's why Paul and Barnabas really were the ones that were reaching out to the Gentiles. Notice, too, that something that the Jewish people sort of forgot is the reason they were the chosen people, the reason the Hebrews were the chosen people, were they were to be a light to the Gentiles, as Paul pointed out, coming from, I think, Isaiah, the book of Isaiah. And so sort of their mission on earth wasn't to be exclusive, but to actually try and reach out to people. And so we see Jesus initiating this again through his ministry, but especially as he's initiating through the conversion of Paul, and even in his discussion with Peter and the visions that they were having after he'd gone back to heaven. Very interesting stuff. We'll see what happens next.